These are some big daddies right here. Y'all don't want to lose all your TV, huh? Alright, y'all, so this was turning to be a long, interesting, informative learning experience of a call.
Turn left onto Northwest Boulevard.
When I got out here, it was just to replace a controller. Of course, the controller was bad. It was burnt to a crisp. So into digging in, I've dealt with these before where I found that I've had either wiring issues where someone wired something wrong on install, or troubleshooting, they put the wires back wrong. Whatever the case may be, I've ran into these controllers where they've had 208 or 240 going to them when they should have only had 120. And what happens, it burns them to a crisp. They do turn on and they work for a little while until they overheat and they burn up. So I checked my voltage as soon as I turned it on and made sure I didn't have 208 volts going to it, and sure enough, I had 208 between my I actually had 208 between my line 2, and which is going to the controller, and my neutral. So I'm like, why do I have 120 on my neutral? So I go start chasing rabbits, and I remember a call that I had the other day with a guy, and he was asking me questions about a freezer that was doing, almost the same thing as mine. Well, later on, where his fans weren't coming on, or his fans and his lights would come on as soon as his compressor kicks on, then his fans and his lights drop out. And I'm like, that's super weird. I don't even understand that, but that happened to me today whenever I had rewired some stuff on one of my Zettler relays, just for troubleshooting purposes. I'm like, well, that's weird. So then I go and I start pulling apart panels, pulling apart the lower raceway, disconnected every wire on there pretty much one at a time, trying to trace this issue. Chased rabbits for a long time, and finally I said, man, let me go ahead and disconnect because I didn't have anything coming from my neutral. Had something weird coming from it. I mean, I was reading 38 volts to ground on my neutral. I don't normally check stuff to ground, but reading 38 volts to ground on my neutral was a little bit weird, I thought. So I disconnected my neutral and my disconnect coming from the panel, and I wired my neutral for my case directly to ground. Turn the unit back on, man, sure enough, everything kicked on. I wasn't reading I wasn't reading 208 between my line 2 and my neutral. Wasn't reading anything. I was reading 120 between line 2 and neutral, 120 between line 1 and neutral. Everything was rolling fine. So I said, well, and I could have called an electrician out there, but that would have just left the case down longer, and I already know how it is. I don't know if any of y'all have ever had to call an electrician out to a site to fix the issue. We do mechanical work. We're not electricians. Not that I can't be an electrician, but my line of work is mechanical. They have electricians that do electrical work. So usually I'll leave it up to them, but I also know if I call them, it's going to be or if I have the office schedule a visit, have them come visit, it's just going to be a back and forth between us and them. They're going to say, well, you have 208 going to the unit, everything's fine, there's an issue with your unit. And then we're going to go back out there and we're going to say, no, there's an issue with the electrical. Then we have to have a vendor meet. Then they have to come out there and we have to go out there and meet at the same time. And I have to prove them wrong, which I'd rather not do. Sometimes, you know, it's satisfying, you know, to, I guess, show off your skills and your troubleshooting skills and let them know, hey, I'm not an electrician, but I know that there's an issue with the electrical. But, you know, it's not about me tooting my own horn or, you know, having a pissing contest with them. You know, I trace my neutral. After I have my neutral hooked up to my ground on my disconnect, going on my case, I started tracing my neutral back, or my wiring back from my case. Traced it back to a junction box in the ceiling. Opened up the junction box. As soon as I wiggled my neutral around, my neutral fell out. So it was just a loose neutral the whole time. I don't know, electrical stuff can do some weird things sometimes. I connected my neutral back, connected it back to my disconnect as well to my case. Didn't have any problems. Case pulled down to around -6, and I said, well, we go ahead and throw it in defrost to make sure it goes into defrost. Put it in defrost. I'm looking at my fans waiting for them to kick off or to slow down, and it never slowed down. I pulled my meter out, checked my amps and my defrost heaters. None of my defrost heaters were amping out. Pulled my leads off of my solid state relay in my electrical box. I have 120 going to my relay that should be passing power to the defrost down below, and also to the fan relay and causing it to switch over and activate the fan heater and deactivate the fans. So that was another issue. I don't understand. Some people will go back with the solid state relays. Man, I threw a 9341 on there. They've been using those things for years and years before I was born. So, you know, I don't know how I feel about all the new solid state relays and stuff like that. I don't trust them. I've ran across enough of them to know that if I have to change that relay, I'm going back with a mechanical relay. It's a good old coil and plunger relay. So I threw the 9341 in there, turned it back on. Well, now my compressor's not coming on. It was just one thing after another. One of my wires that fell out of my terminal block. I didn't have it in there tight enough, and it fell out whenever I was putting the new relay in. So that was easy find and easy fix. I just found out I was losing my line one somewhere. Sure enough, my wire came off, but we got them up and running, which is the important thing. You know, and another important thing is from my boy Wesley. Man, I know you're having issues with that case over there, and I think you're going to be surprised to find it's going to be pretty close to the same issues that I was having with mine. You're going to be able to find it pretty easy next time you go out there, I'm sure. I already told you about it and what to look for. So, you know, come out here and kill two birds with one stone. I figure some stuff out, get this case up and running. We'll have my boy get his case up and running on the other side of the state. So that's a good thing. But anyway, man, I'm on my way home now. Got around 100 miles to drive. Yeah, an hour and a half. And through nothing but cane fields, rice fields, and crawfish ponds. That is in Louisiana. So let y'all go, and y'all have a great day and keep HVACing.